Hello fans and friends across the universe, and welcome to my YouTube channel From Me to You. My name's Keir Smith. Now, amidst the celebrations of Paul's 82nd birthday, he's added some new dates to his Got Back tour for 2024. After globe-trotting around Uruguay, Argentina, Chile and Peru, he then heads to Spain, France before ending the year with 4 dates in the UK at Manchester and London. And of course I considered going to one of these shows, but after a quick look at the hefty ticket prices, I've decided against it. And besides, I've seen Paul 4 times, twice in 2003, again in 2010, and lastly in 2015, I think. But I don't feel the need, I don't feel that urge to go and see him again. And for me, it comes down to 2 things here. One being his voice. I mean, he's now 82 years old and obviously his voice has deteriorated over the years, and quite simply, he doesn't sing as well as he used to. And the second thing is the set list. And I thought to myself, I would be very surprised if there was any more than 4 or 5 changes to that set list that we saw Paul play at Glastonbury in 2022. As a huge Paul McCartney fan, I've always pined after some of his solo songs to be included in these set lists instead of, dare I say it, some of those Beatles classics. Now, admittedly, I am being picky here, and of course it's absolutely fantastic when Paul comes out and plays Can't Buy Me Love. What's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. But there's always been a part of me that says, go on, play Stranglehold. And that got me thinking, and I returned to an idea I had some time ago to create a set list wish list for a Paul McCartney live show. But I also wanted to do something different with this idea. I didn't want it to simply be a 3-hour long stadium or arena rock show with all of my favourite songs, as lovely as that would be. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's thought, wouldn't it be nice if Paul downsized and did some smaller venues and some intimate shows? And of course, Paul's no stranger to this concept. In fact, he rather likes it. He did the Unplugged show back in 1991, and he later played the Cavern in 1999 in support of his Run Devil Run album. And I'm not suggesting that he goes that small, but it would be nice to see Paul in a more intimate surrounding, maybe a few thousand in attendance. And so I came up with this all acoustic wish list set list for this imaginary show. And to add to the intimacy, I wanted it to be only Paul, maybe a light percussionist and a small string accompaniment. So if you can imagine that, Paul stepping onto a low lit stage, front and centre, acoustic guitar in hand, light percussion, strings. Sound good? Of course it does. With that said, here's my imaginary wish list set list. So I thought it'd be good to start this intimate show with a mere fragment of a song taken from Wings' final album Back to the Egg, that song being We're Open Tonight. It's short and sweet, a lovely melody, and it would serve as a taster for what's to come from the rest of the show. And we could follow that up with a song taken from McCartney's self-titled debut album, That Would Be Something. I really like that rustic bluesy sound on this song, and Paul's weathered vocal would deliver it well, I'm sure. And we could follow that with a bit of a crowd pleaser, a much loved ballad from the same album, Every Night. Of course he did that at the Unplugged show. It'd be lovely to hear that again. And it would be rude not to follow that with the very intimate Junk, a beautiful and much loved McCartney song. And I see no reason not to do this in chronological order, so we're going to go through the years, and that brings us to Red Rose Speedway, and I think it would be lovely to hear One More Kiss. This is a charming country tinged ballad, and I'm sure a lot of fans would like to hear him croon this, not least me. George Harrison said this next song was sensational, and I couldn't agree more. We're going to London Town for I'm Carrying, an absolutely gorgeous song. I don't think Paul's ever played it live, and wouldn't it be nice to hear that? And then I chose One of These Days from the McCartney 2 album, and this is such a soft and delicate thing. It's almost like a hymn to me. I'm sure this would bring a tear to a lot of fans' eyes, but in the best way. And I had to include Put It There from Flowers in the Dirt, a skillfully played song in the vein of Blackbird, and it's such a warm and sincere sentiment, and I'm sure it would be a lovely moment for fathers and sons attending the show. And for me too. I imagine I'd be stood there with my arm around my brother Liam and giving him a big kiss. And I wanted to include a big favourite of mine, Hope of Deliverance from the Off the Ground album, and this could be stripped back to the bare bones and maybe slowed down a little. It's such a great melody, I'm sure it'd go down well. And I'd follow that with Some Days from the Flaming Pie album, a soft, sweet and just gorgeous ballad. Get the string accompaniment in for that one, and yeah, that'd be wonderful. And this is an intimate show. It's going to get emotional, so I just wanted to point out how wonderful that lyric is. We don't need anybody else to tell us what is real. Inside each one of us is love, and we know how it feels. It's bloody wonderful, that is. It's both defiant yet vulnerable. I love it. And I rather like I Do from the much maligned Driving Rain album. Again, the strings are really nice on that, and I think that would be a nice addition to the set list. And why not have the song Early Days from New? That seems to be a popular song from that album and would fit into this set list with ease. And I'd follow that with Confidant from the Egypt Station album. That's a real hidden gem for me. I'm always pleased to hear that, and it's really nicely played and sung, of course, and that was always going to be in this set list for me. And talking of gems, I'd like to finish this set with the last song from the last McCartney album, McCartney 3, with When Winter Comes. A gorgeous song, a lovely melody. I love the lyrics. My only hope would be that Paul's voice could deliver it well enough. So that's the set list, 14 songs. Now, you might say that's a bit short, but of course, there always has to be an encore, so we'll include a few crowd pleasers here. Paul's going to come back on and play And I Love Her. And we're going to do something a little bit different here and include some very subtle strings to go with this most beautiful melody. And as lovers in the crowd hold hands, embrace and kiss, we're going to keep that loving feeling going as Paul continues with Here, There and Everywhere. And we could easily leave it there, and that would be a perfect ending to this intimate McCartney acoustic show. But I wanted there to be a big finale, but in a subtle way. And so I came up with this idea, and I thought it'd be really cool if Paul did Bluebird from Band on the Run, and then halfway through that goes into Jenny Wren from Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, and then halfway through that it goes into Blackbird, a trio of bird songs. How about that for a finish? And that's your lot. 19 songs in total. A quick recap of that set list. We're open tonight. That would be something. Every night. Junk. One More Kiss. I'm Carrying. One of These Days. Put It There. Hope of Deliverance. Some Days. I Do. Early Days. Confidant. When Winter Comes. And for the encore we had And I Love Her, Here, There and Everywhere, and that trio of bird songs to finish it all off. Bluebird, Jenny Wren and Blackbird. Now that really would be a beautiful night, followed by a great day reminiscing. You saw what I did there. Oh, I forgot to say, and I probably should have mentioned this at the start of this idea for this imaginary show, but tickets are £300 each. But for that type of show and with that set list, I'd pay that. Anyway, that was just a bit of fun. Thanks for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for the next one sometime soon. Bye for now.